Now close your eyes for a second and let that strange, sizzling hue mash over you. The one that tells you something seismic is about to break loose in your reality. There's no fluff, no pleasantries here, just a rush of raw energy that's forcing your heart to beat a little faster, flooding your mind with images of triumph. You might be wondering why you're so hooked on these words, why you can't look away. That's destiny tapping at your psyche, a gravitational that insists you stick around till the very last second. Before we plunge deeper, do something simply yet potent. Hit that like button to amplify this energy, then drop 77 in the comments as your cosmic signature assigned to the universe that you're ready to devour every ounce of transformation. Here, let this video roll on repeat, letting its frequency soak into your subconscious and keep your eyes locked. At least until Chapter 4. Because concealed, there is a key insight that might just detonate a whole new wave of power in your life. Take a breath. Let the anticipation buzz through your bloodstream, because you're standing at a precipice where illusions crumble, enemies eat their words, and you emerge not just victorious, but unstoppable, ready or not. We're diving in Chapter 1, owning the shockwaves of your presence. You can sense it, can't you? That invisible quake, rippling through your everyday interactions, making people blink twice when you enter a room. There was a time they rolled their eyes or snickered behind your back, counting on your silence to keep you in line. But oh, how the tides have turned now. You walk with an undercurrent of silent thunder as though a piece of the universe puled inside your chest, waiting to roar. This is you, embodying a fierce aura that says it's a PR to be F to king with me. But wait, let's rewind. There was a phase when you second-guessed whether you had any real worth. Maybe you wrestled with self-doubt, questioned your gifts, or allowed manipulative voices to overshadow your instincts. That phase was no coincidence. It was the shaping ground that gave you this unshakable resolve. Each barb or sneer was another push molding you into the force you are now. So yes, well, it might have hurt. Then it prepared you for this exact moment. Running the shockwaves of your presence means you've stopped hiding. You no longer wait for permission to exist boldly. Instead, you take up space because the world needs your authentic vibration. Think about it. How many times have you toned yourself down so others could feel comfortable? That's done over, because your soul is done playing small. There's an almost electric force humming around you, and it's that energy that has people jolting awake and realizing, oh, messing with you isn't just a casual pastime. It's an encounter with a blazing reality they weren't ready for naturally. Some folks might act threatened. They'll attempt to dig up your past mistakes, so throw shade to knock you off balance. But guess what? Their flimsy jabs can't undermine a truth that's anchored in cosmic design. You're not some random anomaly. You're a deliberate stroke of destiny. The moment you internalize that, as a battle is won, they can't tarnish what the universe has anointed. Laugh off their attempts and let them choke on the dust of your forward charge. But let's get practical. When you walk into a space tune into your body, notice how your posture changes when you decide, I belong here fully and unapologetically. Shoulders roll back, breast steadies, eyes sharpen. People sense this shift on a subconscious level, like animals in the wild picking up on unspoken cues of dominance. You don't have to puff up or become obnoxious. Your calm confidence speaks volumes, and in that calm, you project a silent message: we can vibe. Or you can step aside. Either way, I'm not shrinking. Of course, with such presence comes responsibility. You can't just wield this aura like a sledgehammer, smashing everything in sight. The universe bestowed you with power to serve a purpose that elevates others, not to tear them down. Yes, it's a privilege for them to be a foe's king with you, but that also means you carry a mantle of leadership and empathy. If you see someone struggling in your orbit, your energy can catalyze their breakthrough or crush their spirit. Choose wisely in your personal relationships. Don't be surprised if some dynamics shift. Old friends or family members might find your new stance intimidating. They might accuse you of being too big for your bodies. That's their echo of fear. Talking not a reflection of your reality, people either adjust or fade. Let them do as they will while you remain anchored in your truths, because one day they'll realize your growth was never about overshadowing them, but about fulfilling the potent. Call etched in your spirit, and here's the kicker. This is only the beginning. Tapping into your own shockwaves is step one in a cosmic labyrinth that leads to gifts and blessings. Unimaginable, you might attract fresh opportunities. A random text from someone who offers you a dream project or an unexpected financial windfall. You might catch glimpses of how your presence alone can heal a broken spirit or spark an avalanche of change. The universe loves to conspire when it meets a soul that's willing to walk in full authenticity. So on it, it's not arrogance, it's self-acceptance. Realize that your aura is not for trivial amusements. It's a channel for cosmic energy. This means you can't let negativity or small-minded judgments print space in your head. Flush them out daily via meditation affirmations or a simple walk in nature, reminding you of your deeper connection to something vast. The more you purge the static, the clearer your signal becomes. Then watch as people line up for the privilege of being around your vibe, not because you're above them, but because your authenticity magnetizes those ready to rise. This is the gist of Chapter 1. You're done playing the underdog, the shifting your posture, your aura, your mental environment. Everything is pivoting to reflect your cosmic royalty. That's not hype. It's reality when you truly get that you're chosen for a reason. Let that sink in as we journey onward, discovering how this unstoppable presence weaves into your everyday moves. Because if you think you've seen power, just wait until you explore the deeper layers and the chapters ahead. Something jaw-dropping awaits, especially around Chapter 4, where a vital key to harnessing your unstoppable aura lies. Stick around, you won't regret it. Chapter 2, shedding the armor of false expectations. Breathe in deeply. Hold that breath for a moment and feel the tension in your shoulders, tension that might not even be yours, but an inheritance from the world's demands for ages. You've worn layers upon layers of expectation, trying to fit some script that was never meant for you. But guess what? Those layers are more like illusions than armor, illusions that weigh you down instead of protecting you. Now you stand at the brink of discarding that burden, stepping into a rawness that feels terrifyingly empowering. Start with the biggest false expectation, that you're supposed to be like everyone else. The status quo loves conformity because it can predict it. People who toe the line rarely ruffle feathers, rarely test the system. But you, dear chosen one, were never built for bland uniformity, the pain in your G. Each time you tried to blend, and was your soul screaming, "This is not who we are," embrace that pain as a clarion call. Let it remind you that your path is meant to deviate from the trodden route. Another expectation is the timeline. Trap by ascertain age. You should have a certain job, a certain relationship, or a certain net worth. That's a cultural script, and while structure can guide some, it often stifles the unorthodox or visionary spirit. You're rewriting the narrative that success or fulfillment must adhere to a universal schedule. Maybe your breakthroughs come later, or perhaps earlier than expected, but always in sync with divine timing that defies conventional logic. Family can be both your cheerleaders and your JERs. They might want you to remain in the safe zone, partly out of love, partly out of fear and breaking the mold. You risk disappointing them, yet is it truly love if it requires you to shrink who you are, realizing that your family's expectations might be more about their anxieties than your calling can free you from guilt? You can still love them while forging a different route, proving through your eventual triumph that standing in your authenticity hurts no one and heals many. Add to that the modern obsession with social media perfection. How many times have you scrolled to pated feeds subconsciously, Measuring your real broad journey against polished illusions, shedding false expectations, includes stitching the knee to replicate someone else's highlight reel. If you think about it, your realness is far more magnetic than any fabricated persona. People crave authenticity in a filtered world. Once you let go of the need to appear Percy, you unlock a magnetism that resonates deeper than any staged aesthetic ever could. And then this career stereotyping maybe folks tight, cast you based on your background, telling you to remain in a stable but suffocating role, or they claim you dream is unrealistic. But consider how many groundbreaking innovations were labeled unrealistic until they materialized, getting the expectation that you must color within the lines allows you to pioneer, where others only see roadblocks. The biggest leaps often happen when someone ignores the admonition. We don't do it that way. As you unburden yourself from these illusions, take note of how your energy shifts. It's as if you're removing invisible restraints from your limbs, freeing them to move in ways you never dared. You might feel lighter, more adventurous, and strangely at peace even amid chaos. That's the essence of living in alignment, when external tumult doesn't shake your inner equilibrium, because you're anchored in your own truth rather than external demands. But let's be real, this shedding can spark friction. People who benefited from your compliance might panic, launching guilt or manipulation tactics. They'll say you've changed with a hint of accusation. Indeed, you have changed. You've evolved, stepping beyond their comfort zone. Let them grapple with it. Compassion. Yes, but compromise your essence, never, because every time you compromise to appease them, you siphon off a piece of your brilliance, and you're done paying that price. All the while, your authenticity sets the stage for new connections that align with your future, doors open to circles of visionaries who applaud your differences. Rather than fear them, this fresh tribe might appear unexpectedly a friend of a friend, a random meetup, or even online groups. Through them, you see reflections of your own unspoken dreams, and synergy abounds. Missions become shared, collaborations arise that propel you far quicker than trudging alone. Ultimately, shedding these illusions is an act of courage. It leaves you feeling exposed, but only for a moment. Then, that vulnerability morphs into unstoppable resilience, a clarity that shields you better than any false armor ever could, because once you're stripped down to your core identity, nobody can weaponize your insecurities or manipulate your path. You become, in essence, untouchable in your truth. So as you continue forward, let each day be an active releasing of one more false expectation. Have a conversation you've been avoiding. Decline an invitation that stifles your growth, or publicly share an aspect of yourself you used to hide. Each step is a liberation that accelerates your quantum leaps in other areas, including relationships, career, and finances. The universe delights in a soul that refuses to be boxed in and rewards it accordingly. Keep this momentum alive as we press onward. By Chapter 4, you'll deepen your understanding of how exactly your letting go feeds into your unstoppable trajectory. But let's just say this: the illusions you're discarding are the same illusions that once gave your adversaries leverage. Without them, your adversaries have nothing to latch onto, and you stride forth an unstoppable autonomy, forging a destiny that's entirely your own. Chapter 3. Building a personal fortress of inner worth. Stop for a second and feel the hum in your chest. Let that hum remind you of the quiet fortress, growing within a fortress, built not of stone and mortar, but of self-worth and unwavering conviction. Once the world's criticisms and manipulations might have found cracks in your walls, eroding your sense of who you are. But those days are fading fast. Each break you add to this fortress is a boundary, a realization, a piece of self-acceptance that says, I am enough exactly as I am. Constructing this fortress starts with identifying your core values, the fundamental truths you're no longer willing to compromise. Perhaps you value authenticity, creativity, or compassion. Own them, let them guide your decisions, from your career moves to your relationship choices. The minute you align your life with your true values, your inner fortress stands taller, its walls less penetrable by external nonsense. People who attempt to lure you into betraying those values find no foothold. Another layer in your fortress is learning to self-validate. Too often, we look for external applause to confirm our worth, but external applause can vanish the moment you fail to meet someone's fleeting expectations. Self-validation, on the other hand, is rock solid. It's the voice inside saying, I celebrate my wins, I learn from my losses, and I don't need anyone's permission to be proud of who I am. The world can either cheer or cheer. You remain centered because your internal cheerleader is fully active. Boundaries also constitute the fortress. You might notice that certain individuals or environments train you, leaving you second-guessing your gifts. Setting boundaries doesn't mean banishing everyone who challenges you. It means limiting the access of those who repeatedly disrespect your dignity or sabotage your growth. If a colleague constantly undercuts your ideas, a friend incessantly SS out, or a family member guilt trips you for wanting more in life, your fortress must keep them at bay. Boundaries maintain the sanctity of your mental and emotional space, which is the breeding ground for your unstoppable ascension. Part of fortifying your sense of worth is also acknowledging your shadows. Every fortress has hidden corridors. Ignoring them doesn't make them vanish. Maybe you have a tendency to self-sabotage when success looms, or perhaps in the creeps. And when you see someone else living the dream you desire, shine a light on these corners, not to shame yourself, but to integrate them. Doing so actually cements your fortress further, as it reduces the chance that hidden vulnerabilities will erupt at the worst time. The more self-aware you become, the more stable your foundation of worth is. You strengthen your fortress. Be prepared for people to test it. Some will challenge your new confidence, accusing you of being too big for your boots. Others might trivialize your growth, mocking the steps you've taken. They want to see if your fortress is just a facade. Let them test. Let them throw their comments like pebbles at a wall of steel. Each time you hold your ground, the fortress grows more impenetrable. Your war is shining with a quiet majesty that signals, I will not fault. This robust sense of worth also ignites your creative force. Freed from the fear of judgment, you're more likely to experiment, to innovate, to push the boundaries of what you thought possible, whether it's launching a project, showcasing your art, or simply adopting a daring new approach at work. Your creativity blossoms when it's unchained from the need for external approval. People often misinterpret creative block as laziness or lack of skill, but in truth, it's frequently anchored in insecurity. Once you yank out that anchor, your imaginative sails catch the wind and carry you forward at breathtaking speed. Another effect of your inner fortress is the resonance it creates with others on a similar wavelength. Souls who also cherish self-growth and authenticity will gravitate to you. The result is a supportive network or tribe forming organically around your mission. In this synergy, your efforts multiply. Allies emerge who want to collaborate, share resources, or champion your cause. Partnerships based on mutual respect rather than opportunism can propel you to levels of success you never dared to dream. Now, none of this means you become immune to life's ups and downs. You're still human with emotions that have and flow, but your fortress ensures that even when storms come, your core remains intact. You feel your feelings without being swept away by them. You handle setbacks without concluding you're worthless. This emotional equilibrium is invaluable in a fast-paced, often cutthroat world. When others panicked, you remain steady, carrying an aura of calm that reassures and magnetizes those around you. Ultimately, building this fortress is about deciding you're no longer a passive participant in your own story. You take the pen firmly in hand, each boundary, each Piece of self-care, each choice align with your highest self. These form the bricks and mortar with every new day. Your fortress stands taller, reflecting the unstoppable being you've become. You embody the truth. It's a privilege to be F***'s king. With me because you're a force of nature, not a doormat. And from here the vantage only gets better. Because once your fortress is solid, your capacity to manifest world-altering dreams becomes limitless, so let your newly fortified sense of worth settle. Deep into your bones, realize that the universe stands at the ready, awaiting your next move. Eager to amplify your every step, we proceed forging ahead into the corridors of your unstoppable future, where your fortress is not just a safeguard, but a launchpad catapulting you into reels of possibility that make previous doubts appear comically small. Keep that momentum alive, because we're not done forging your path to unstoppable brilliance. Chapter 4. The crocs were letting go. Meets making the can feel the tingling down your arms, as if the universe itself were tapping your shoulder, saying, "This is it. Pay attention." You've cast off illusion, grounded your worth, and awakened to the quake of your own presence. Now we land at the crux, the intersection. We're letting those seamlessly melds with making the cut. This pivotal junction decides whether you're a passive dreamer or vault into the stratosphere of unstoppable action. Let's break it down. Letting go is about discarding attachments, old pains, outdated ambitions, toxic influences. Making the cut, however, is about actively choosing which paths to pursue and which to abandon. In other words, letting go is the subtractive process of clearing clutter, while making the cut is the additive process of focusing your energy on what truly matters. When these two align, your life undergoes a swift metamorphosis that stands on lookers. Firstly, letting go empties your cup of stagnant water, so fresh opportunities can pour in, but fresh opportunities can be overwhelming if you don't also make definitive choices about them. You might find multiple offers, each shimmering with potential landing at your feet. That's where making the cut comes into play, sorting, deciding, drawing lines. The universe can shower you with blessings, but it's your job to piece them into a coherent puzzle, rather than letting them jangle around in a chaotic heap. Look at an example. Maybe you've let go of a draining 9-to-5 job that stifled your creativity. Suddenly you receive freelance proposals, collaboration invites, or even a travel opportunity that calls to your wander list. Letting go gave you room to breathe, but making the cut means choosing which of these new offers align with your deeper purpose. Jumping on all of them might disperse your energy, leading to burnout. Selecting the one that sets your heart ablaze, however, can rocket launch your trajectory. Another scenario, you've released a toxic relationship. People sense your liberated aura and swarm around you, hoping to fill that vacancy. But not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Making the cut means discerning who's truly resonant and who's just seeking a fleeting thrill or a chance to siphon your newfound globe, carefully admitting only those who uplift your spirit. You keep your circle potent, your energy pristine. Why does this synergy matter so much? Because the universe respects clarity. The moment you demonstrate that you can both relinquish the unwanted and commit to the truly valuable, you signal readiness for higher-level blessings. You're effectively telling the cosmos, I'm not a dyer, I'm a master curator of my reality. That declaration sets off a chain reaction, accelerating your path through coincidences that align with your refined vision. In this phase, you'll notice an odd phenomenon. The more you cut away, the bigger you become. People might scratch their heads, expecting fewer associations or possessions to equate to smaller influence, but your focus intensifies your impact, making you more formidable in whichever sphere you choose to operate. It's the difference between a diffused flashlight beam and a laser pointer. One illuminates broadly, the other cuts too. Darkness with razor precision. Emotions will flare. Of course, letting go can stir grief for nostalgia for what once felt familiar, while making the cut can trigger guilt, if you're no trust to saying now, but stepping into greatness demands you negotiate. Thus the emotional waters with courage. Each pain of guilt or regret is a sign that you're shifting from old patterns to new paradigms. Embrace the discomfort as proof of your evolution. In time, you realize you parted ways with burdens that never served. Your soul's expansion anyway, as you refine your circle and your pursuits, you'll sense how your life streamlines. This streamlining is not minimalism for its own sake. It's optimizing your energy flow freed from the mental static of useless obligations or contradictory goals. Your mind becomes a laser beam. Creativity spikes, problem solving quickens, and your capacity to read subtle cues from the universe intensifies. This synergy fosters breakthroughs that feel almost supernatural in speed. And let's talk about identity. People who once identified you by your old roles or relationships may struggle to keep up, some might even resist your metamorphosis. But as a chosen one stepping into unstoppable momentum, your identity transcends the limited variant. You become the catalyst, and they must either adapt or be left, pondering how you soared while they remain grounded. Keep your empathy intact, but don't apologize for outgrowing them by merging, letting go, and making the cut. You essentially move from a reactive stance to a proactive stance in life's grand arena. You're not passively letting fate toss you around. You're co-authoring your destiny. If an option doesn't resonate, you cut it. If an old pattern weighs you down, you let it go. The harmony of these two acts sets you apart, forging an unstoppable force that no obstacle can truly thwart. So let this chapter sink deep into your consciousness. Feel the clarity that arises when you realize you can both release old baggage and actively shape new directions. This synergy is your golden ticket, your unstoppable ticket to a destiny that dwarfs every small-minded prediction once cast upon you. You're not merely surviving, you're orchestrating a future trenched in meaning, abundance, and soul level satisfaction. Keep this in mind as you journey into the final chapters, where the brilliance of your unstoppable presence will be cemented into a lasting imprint upon the world. Chapter 5, channeling your rising frequency into tangible gain. Feel a fresh surge of electricity crackling at your fingertips. You've danced with letting go, commanded your reality with razor precision. And now the question arises. Do you translate this elevated frequency into concrete real-world advantage? No, not just ephemeral good vibes, but actual improvements in career, finances, relationships, and inner peace. Because you're not in this to remain a potential, you're here to manifest unstoppable results. Let's talk about career or vocation. If you're in a job that no longer sparks you, your rising frequency might be the very push that sets you on a new path. Perhaps you want to pivot industries, start a personal brand, or freelance your unique skill set. The shift is not arbitrary. It's an outward expression of your inward expansion. Take methodical steps, like updating your portfolio, having exploratory conversations, or building a side hustle. The verse, sensing your seriousness, can propel you with synchronicities. A chance networking event, a random LinkedIn message, or an internal job opening, perfectly matched to your skills. That's not luck, it's alignment. In terms of finances, your new vibe acts like a magnet, pulling in opportunities. You might see a sudden spike in sales of your self-employed, or an influx of new leads if you're in a commission-based role. The trick is to stay alert. Opportunity rarely yells, it often whispers. This might be worth exploring. Don't let old inertia keep you from investigating. Follow away your limiting beliefs around money, because that's precisely the mental chatter that blocks you from noticing golden chances. A willingness to seize the moment is your secret sauce. Then there's your personal life. Maybe you're single and sense that your new aura is attracting potential pole partners who match your updated frequency. Be discerning, rushing into a relationship. Just because you sense an attraction might derail you if the other person is stuck in a lower or conflicting vibration. Alternatively, if you're already partnered, watch how your dynamic evolves when you stand firm in your newfound confidence. Communication can become more authentic, resentments can surface for clearing, and the partnership either levels up or reveals. A no longer serves your path. Either outcome, though, possibly bittersweet, aligns you with deeper truths now about relationships that transcend romance. Friends, colleagues, mentors, and even adversaries. At this stage, you might inadvertently break some hearts by outgrowing folks who prefer your former, more compliant self. But remember that you can't carry everyone with you if they're anchored in a stagnant mindset. This might require tough calls, limiting time with certain buddies, or gracefully declining new acquaintances who bring drama or negativity. It's not cold. It's strategic. Your mental and emotional real estate is precious. Guard it well, so your rising frequency has space to flourish. Another aspect, self-care, intensifies as your frequency climbs. You crave deeper bodily alignment, nutritious foods, perhaps more natural healing methods, or consistent exercise that resonates with your spirit. This isn't about chasing a perfect body image. It's about fueling yourself to sustain high-acting performance. Your body becomes a temple for cosmic energy, and neglecting its short circuits, your momentum, approach exercise or dietary changes, not as punishment, but as rituals that keep your channel clean, your focus sharp, and your mood uplifted. You may also feel an inner pull toward philanthropy or service. Suddenly, success morphs from a personal milestone into a communal wave. You might find yourself mentoring others who struggle with the same illusions you've shattered, or perhaps who funnel resources into causes that resonate with your soul. This isn't forced altruism. It's the natural overflow of abundance. When your cup runs over, you share from your surplus, which ironically triggers even greater inflow. The universe loves a generous height. Watch for the subtle difference between being driven and being hurried. Driven means you're on fire with purpose. Hurried means you're frantic, ignoring the nuance and the universe's cues. If you notice restlessness or desperation creeping in, that's your sign to breathe, to enter, and trust. The process, rushing, often leads to sloppy decisions that sabotage your gains. Let your sense of time be guided by synchronicities instead of fear. Magical speed emerges when each action lands at the cosmic sweet spot, not when you force timelines out of anxiety. As you weave all these threats, career, finances, relationships, self-care, service, you'll see how they mesh to form a tapestry of unstoppable momentum. This synergy becomes your personal engine, fueled by your unwavering sense of worth and your refusal to entertain illusions. Each area of your life feeds into the others, amplifying your trajectory. It's a multi-lane highway to your highest potential, and you're free to speed up without traffic jams, because your mental blocks are gone. Keep this integrated approach in mind. You're not just focusing on one dimension of success. You're sculpting an entire ecosystem where your talents, heart, and destiny converge into something truly remarkable. And that's precisely how the universe intended it. No half measures, no stunted outcomes, just a holistic bloom that touches every corner of your existence. Next up, we'll delve into anchoring this synergy into a permanent aura of ascendancy, because once you stand in this place, the world starts seeing you as unstoppable for a reason. You've harmonized all aspects of yourself, making you a vessel for boundless miracles and blessings. Chapter 6, Sealing Your AA of Ascendancy. Let your gaze settle for a moment, taking in the magnitude of your journey. Thus far, you've embraced letting harness your unique essence and seen how synergy across various facets of life can skyrocket your potential. Now it's time to lock in that progress, sealing your aura of ascendancy so it doesn't waver under pressure, external negativity, or even your own moments of doubt. Sealing your aura starts with an unwavering daily practice of self-acknowledgement. Each morning, carve out a few quiet minutes to reaffirm who you are and where you're headed. This can be as simple as breathing deeply and saying, "I am unstoppable, I am guided, and I am Purposed for greatness, that might sound trivial, but words carry energetic codes that can cement your focus over time. These affirmations become a kind of soul armor, repelling the random darts of cynicism that the world lobs your way. Another layer is consistent journaling as you ascend your life will accelerate thoughts, ideas, and experiences. Sit by faster journaling anchors. These fleeting moments allowing you to extract lessons and track patterns you might otherwise forget by regularly reviewing your notes. You see how far you've come, how you overcame pitfalls, and which tactics or mindset triggered breakthroughs. This not only fuels gratitude, but also equips you to replicate success patterns when knit emerging problems in the bud. Be mindful, too, of the company you keep. Once your aura radiates ascendancy, you'll attract admirers and opportunists alike. The admirers respect your journey and hope to learn. The opportunists see you as a gateway to their own agenda. Distinguish them by the energy they bring. Are they genuinely supportive or subtly parasitic? Use your shop and descent to separate the wheat from the chaff by curating a tribe of people who echo your dedication to integrity and evolution. You form a collective energy that's near impossible to disrupt. Let's also talk about your environment, physical spaces, your home workspace. Even your digital feed can either bolster or drain your aura. Keeping your surroundings clean, organized, and filled with small reminders of your mission helps maintain high vibes. This might mean having fresh flowers on your desk, inspirational quotes pinned up, or restricting certain negativity laid in social media accounts. Environment matters greatly when your consciousness is stretching into new domains. A well-curated setting can act like a supportive stage for your ongoing performance. Spiritual renewal is crucial as well. You might adopt or intensify practices like meditation, prayer, or breath work that connect you to a higher power. These routines serve as daily refills for your soul's reservoir. The world can be chaotic, and as your profile rises, so do potential challenges. A steady spiritual discipline keeps your aura fed by divine streams, making you resilient against any tide of adversity. Even a brief morning or evening ritual can work wonders, and sealing the cracks to which fear or doubt might seep. Consider also the role of fun and play. Ambition and seriousness can weigh heavily, if not balanced by moments of light-heartedness. Engage in hobbies or activities that bring genuine joy, whether it's dancing to your favorite jams, painting at midnight, or a spontaneous hike in nature. When you infuse play into your life, you lighten the emotional load and keep your aura. A nimble playfulness is often undervalued, but it's a potent method for staying adaptable and magnetizing fresh ideas or connections. Set many challenges for yourself, too. Maybe you vow to read a new book each week or learn a skill in a month. Each challenge you conquer reaffirms your capability, sending a signal to your AA that you're continually operating. It also counters complacency by keeping you slightly on the edge of your comfort zone where real growth flourishes. Now observe how these elements intertwine. Consistent self-affirmation journaling, mindful relationships, traded spaces, spiritual practice, and the spark of play together. They form a fortress around your rising frequency, preventing backsliding and amplifying your magnetism. People sense this coherence and respond. Some might approach you for partnerships, intrigued by your aura of ascendancy that suggests this one can't be stopped. Most coolly remain receptive to further revelations. The universe isn't done with you. That next wave of blessings may arrive, and forms that baffle your logical mind, perhaps an entirely new career sector, or a spontaneous relocation that sets you up for global influence. Your job is to keep your aura flexible yet fortified so you can pivot gracefully when these curveballs come. As we inch closer to the final chapter, understand that sealing your aura is an ongoing, lifelong discipline, not a one-time fix. Each new level of success Each next R on the ladder introduces fresh challenges, but if you keep these sealing practices alive, your ascendancy remains stable, your brilliance unwavering, and your capacity to shape reality expands. Yes, it's a privilege for the world to be AF Risk King with you because your presence channels unstoppable cosmic currents and you're just warming up. Chapter 7. The unbreakable claim to your future. Breathe in the final wave of this journey, letting your soul soak up every insight, every run of progress you've climbed. You've learned to let go, to refine your circle, to pivot from illusions to unstoppable momentum, and to seal your aura in a synergy of spiritual resilience and practical hustle. This final chapter speaks of the unbreakable claim you now stake on your future, a future that no critic, circumstance, or flicker of self-doubt can wrest from your grasp. Claiming your future is an act of defiance against every narrative that ever told you, "Stay in your lane, blur. You're not an..." It asserts loudly that you won't bow to the limitations others project onto you, or the ones you once projected onto yourself. This claim is not about arrogance, it's about integrity. Here, cognize that your gifts are too substantial to languish, your calling too vital to remain dormant. You choose to embody the next level of your evolution, unwavering in the face of both internal and external doubts. So how do you solidify this claim day by day? Start by speaking it into existence. Words carry vibration. The more you assert, "I'm forging a life of impact and abundance," or "I step forward unafraid," a channel for divine creativity, the more you anchor that reality. Watch how your posture changes. When you articulate your future with unwavering conviction, people sense that shift. The universe does too. Responding by orchestrating events to match your declared blueprint. Action is your seal. Each step you take an alignment with your grand vision, nails that claim firmly into reality. If you've PRT of launching an initiative, be it a business, community project, or creative masterpiece, sketch of the first steps. If you know your circle lacks certain expertise, seek mentors or collaborators who fill those gaps. Dreaming alone won't cut it. You must back your spiritual fervor with tangible moves. That synergy of faith and action forms an unstoppable tide that propels you closer to the life you've envisioned. Inevitably, you'll face tests. Perhaps an old wound reopens, or a sudden downturn challenges your optimism. This is where every tool you've acquired, letting go, setting boundaries, harnessing synergy comes into play. You'll find that each test, while initially jarring, becomes proof of your resilience. Like a sword tempered in fire, your spirit emerges more polished with each challenge. Each stumbling block becomes a stone you step on, elevating you higher. In this way, obstacles don't debilitate you. They refine your resolve, reminding you why your claim to the future is non-negotiable. Moreover, the claim to your future also rests on your willingness to adapt. Apt no planti grandis, immune to the unforeseen. Keep that flexible spirit alive. If a strategy fails, pivot without labeling it a personal failure. If a new revelation emerges, let your current plan morph to accommodate it. Think of your future like a piece of music you're composing. The melody might shift midong, but the overall harmony remains. Adaptation keeps her creation alive, dynamic and surprising. By staying fluid, you give the universe space to support you in ways you might never have imagined. Another facet is communal contribution. The deeper you step into your power, the more you see that your rising tide can lift others. Whether you offer free tips in your domain, sponsor someone's education, or simply champion the dreams of a friend who lacks your courage, Isaac, magnify your own blessings. It's cosmic mathematics. As you channel blessings outward, you make room for more to flow in. You become an epicenter of positive contagion, radiating ripples that shift not just your destiny, but also the destinies of those in your orbit. Generosity becomes another form of claiming your future, because every time you help someone else grow, you're affirming there's enough abundance for everyone, including you. Perfection ensures you don't lose yourself in the glare of success in daily or weekly quiet times. Revisit your why as is this direction, still aligned with my core values, and does my future vision serve me growth and potentially uplift others? By checking in, you stay authentic, preventing outer achievements from disconnecting you from your essence. That authenticity is a magnetic field that keeps fresh opportunities swirling around you when your internal compass aligns with your external pursuits. You become a force that draws and exactly what you need, precisely when you need it. Yet there's even more depth to the notion of claiming your future. It's also about rewriting your internal dialogue, the ongoing narrative of who you believe yourself to be. Each time you refuse to indulge self-doubt, you're effectively scripting a new chapter in your personal story, one where self-belief is the default fault setting. If fear arises, it becomes a prompt to reaffirm your worthiness rather than a signal to retreat. This continuous rewriting process cements your conviction that your future is not just possible but inevitable. Bear in mind that your environment plays a powerful role in solidifying your claim. Surround yourself with people who nurture your vision and hold you to your highest standard. If negativity creeps in from those who refuse to grow, maintain your boundaries without guilt. Remember, you can love people from a distance without sacrificing your own trajectory. Your future is far too valuable to be compromised by anyone unwilling to support it. As your clarity grows, you might also notice new resources or skills you never realize you have. Perhaps you discover a latent knack for leadership or a gift for inspiring others through your stories. Lean into these discoveries. They're not accidents. They're clues from the universe guiding you to the pathways where your light can shine the brightest. In many ways, the journey toward your future reveals aspects of your brilliance that you never tap into. Otherwise, continue to blend spiritual alignment with practical hustle. One foot stands in faith, the other in consistent effort. Let your intuition guide your vision, while your hands and minds shape it in the physical world. This balanced approach ensures that your claim to the future isn't mere fantasy. It's a living, breathing blueprint, unfolding in real time. In this synergy, you become unstoppable, marrying the cosmic with the concrete to forge your destiny. As this series draws to a close, remember it's a stepping stone, not a finish line. You're not concluding your evolution, you're catalyzing it. They said it's a privilege to be Aces King with you, and it is, because your presence crackles with an energy that refuses to be contained. You hold an unbreakable claim to a future that merges your personal glory with a higher cosmic plan. That synergy makes your trajectory unstoppable, especially when you continue to incorporate all you've learned: radical self-beliefs, strategic action, and heartfelt service. So, dear chosen one, stand tall. The illusions that once bound you have dissolved, replaced by a luminous path, stretching toward horizons you've yet to discover. Each day, reaffirm your vow to honor your unique spark, to move in decisive grace, and to let your blessings become blessings for many. In that vow resides the final, unassailable truth: you're no longer playing small, you're no longer apologizing for your might, and you're certainly not a footnote in someone else's story. You're the headliner of your own unstoppable saga, forging forward under the benevolent watch of a universe that celebrates your every stride. Embrace that celebration. Let it embolden you to take risks, to be audacious, to stand firm in your worth. In doing so, you become a living testament to what happens when faith, perseverance, and vision intersect in one fierce, luminous soul. And that chosen one is your unbreakable claim to the future, signed, sealed, and delivered by the life force you've awakened within. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, comments, and share to all. Give your feedback in the video comments.